Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Tammy Sipniewski, your crypto queen. Thank you so much for popping by on my channel. Please know this is not financial advice. I am only here to entertain you and to remind you to buy on red candles. I would like to apologize for yesterday's video. Apparently, there was a little bit of an audio glitch. I had no idea. I posted the video thinking it was great. Listen, I have spent a lot of money on my audio gear to bring you a premium sound whenever it is that you come to the Crypto Queen channel, and I apologize for that. I should have done a quick audio sound check, but I mean, look, this is the same microphone that Joe Rogan has. It's a Shure SM7B. I mean, the whole setup itself is like probably 800 bucks between the microphone and the mixers and the wires and everything. I, I don't know what happened. I don't believe it was anything that had to do with me. As you can see, I wear the headphones to make sure that I have good audio. I think where the hiccup may have come in was StreamYard. So I will start definitely giving each video a QC before I release it so that you don't have to deal with that ever again, because that's unfair, because there was some great content in that video. And oh, that reminds me, if you don't mind, if you're not already, and I usually don't like to ask this, but if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so, or just hitting the like button, because YouTube, I didn't make videos for a long time and now they're like, hey, we might demonetize you if you don't go up in the algorithm. So I would appreciate if you can help assist out. And if you have the opportunity to subscribe or hit the like button, it would mean a lot to me and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, now let's get back to why we're here in the first place. And that's right, we are talking about a $5 million Bitcoin. Listen, that's pretty bullish. And who is making this bullish and brave assessment of the future of Bitcoin? None other than one of the biggest, most revered Bitcoin maximalists that is out there. That's Michael Saylor. And that dude puts his money where his mouth is. But he said there's got to be three certain factors that happen for that $5 million Bitcoin to come around. And we definitely will get to those three factors. But in general, right, like $1 million Bitcoin is not unheard of by the year 2030. A lot of people have predicted that $1 million Bitcoin. Of course, Lynn Alden, Kathy Woods, other huge Bitcoin people out there. They're like, yeah, $1 million easy for 2030, but 5 million, that's astronomical. What do we know about Bitcoin? So the theme for today is past is prologue. And what do I mean by that? So we can look at Bitcoin and know that there are cycles of Bitcoin. And if we can look back to the past and see a recognizable pattern, then we know probably what the future is going to hold for the price movement of Bitcoin. Again, I refer to this chart, this wonderful chart that was put together by my friend over on his X, and he is Anonymous Crypto Predictions. This guy's great. I'm going to leave a link for his profile in the description box. Please go follow him. He does some amazing technical analysis, not only on Bitcoin. I have seen people ask him questions about other cryptocurrency, and like 2 minutes later, he's whipping up a chart for them. So it's definitely worth, if you go follow him and ask him questions, he's always answering people and he's a wealth of knowledge. I refer you to the chart that he made in regards to the Bitcoin and the halving cycle. And of course, the Bitcoin halving cycle happens every 4 years. That has nothing to do with us. That has to do with the amount of Bitcoin that the miners get rewarded, okay, for doing the calculations and the hashes and creating new blocks. That has to do with them, not with us. But what we do notice about this halving cycle is that there's a pattern. So every 4 years, and it happened in 2016 and 2020, that there was definite a strong area of accumulation the year before the halving. Then shortly after the halving, maybe a few months later, that's when Bitcoin started to push through to the upside and reached higher highs. Okay, so that's, past is prologue, and we're in this area right now. And what do we know about the past few months when it comes to Bitcoin? Last year we did push down in the $15,000 area, and I was thinking, You know what? There's the potential that we could see a $10,000 Bitcoin before that halving happens. I don't believe that anymore because of everything that has happened with Bitcoin. We have all of these different huge institutional money people putting in for the spot ETFs. Bitcoin is being talked about on mainstream media. People that have Bitcoin are holding their Bitcoin, they're not selling it. And you could see in this area right here, I mean, we have for the past few months have just seen an area of accumulation between the $25,000 area and the $30,000 area. I mean, it's gone above 30,000 a few times, like, you see the wicks, like, it's popped through there, but that's an area of resistance right now. There's the potential that we're going to push through that 30,000. As a matter of fact, that we had the death cross a few days ago, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, oh no, the death cross." But here's the thing with the death cross, besides theories and everything that say that death cross is no good, you're going to push to the downside, that really only happens like 50-50, like half the time it happens. And I didn't make a video on it because I just didn't believe it was going to happen for Bitcoin because of all of the momentum that's happening for Bitcoin right now. Well, let's get back to what Mr. Michael Saylor is talking about when it comes to that $5 million Bitcoin, and he believes there's three huge things that need to happen for that $5 million Bitcoin to come true. And there he is, Mr. Handsome, Mr. Michael Saylor. Those three things are, number one, are the spot ETFs. And we know that there's a lot of people that already have their applications in for the spot ETFs. For the traditional banks, the fiat banks, to recognize Bitcoin, give Bitcoin, a little bit respect, a little bit of street cred, and start holding Bitcoin themselves, uh, having custody of Bitcoin, lending Bitcoin out, or even taking your Bitcoin as collateral, maybe to buy a house or a car. And the third thing is fair value accounting rules from the FASB, and that is the Financial Accounting Standards Board. And look at that's already happened this week. Now, what is the FASB? Uh, that's basically the board that gives you the rules of accounting for Bitcoin. Companies that hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets, that you have to be more uh, transparent when it comes to your Bitcoin holdings. You have to show whether or not you're in profits or you're in losses. And you don't just do that annually. Got to do a little more frequently. I don't know if you have to report biweekly or monthly, but definitely more frequently than just annually. And that's already happened. So check. One of the three things is already checked off. The other thing was the spot ETFs. That's, Michael said, inevitable. So a lot of people already have their applications in for those spot ETFs. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. It has to happen. Baby, we are there. The third thing, or the second thing that was on the list, is the traditional fiat banks to have Bitcoin on hand and to accept Bitcoin as collateral. That's a little more tricky, right? Like, when will we see that? And will that freak out traditional banks to have Bitcoin in? Because they feel, what, Bitcoin is just an absolute nightmare for them, cryptocurrency. It's threatening to them. Will they ever have it? And I think it is inevitable. They also will have to start dealing with cryptocurrency, especially when those spot ETFs kick in and more people get into Bitcoin. And, people are very bullish on Bitcoin right now because they believe in those spot ETFs. It's going to bring a lot of money into Bitcoin, eyes on Bitcoin. I agree that it's definitely going to bring more eyes onto Bitcoin. But as far as they're like, oh, there's going to be a rush on liquidity. Once those ETFs kick in, it's going to be absolutely amazing. That might be a little true, but I think a lot of the price push for Bitcoin right now is that institutional money already getting the Bitcoin on their balance sheets. What do you think? They're going to sit there and wait for their applications to be accepted before they just start to accumulate Bitcoin? Or do you think they're going to start accumulating it while the price is cheap? They've probably been accumulating it all along since the price was down in like the low 20s. They've probably been there doing that. They're not going to sit there and wait until their applications are like, up, stamped, okay, you're ready, go ahead and open up your no, they're already doing it. So as far as That having a huge price swing with Bitcoin, I don't think so. I think it's going to be that halving cycle. Few months after that, I think that's when we see higher highs for Bitcoin. And if you remember, where did we see what was the last high for Bitcoin? Depending on where you bought it, it was anywhere from 65,000 to 69,000. Now, I am a true pleb. I stack my sats. I buy Bitcoin where I can because I'm stacking them up. I want a few Bitcoin, especially once it hits $5 million. Baby, we can all retire. Can you imagine? If it hits $5 million, my goodness gracious. I had the $1 million Bitcoin challenge. Every day I was buying a little bit of Bitcoin. You can buy, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You could buy whatever it is that you can afford. And, the smallest little unit of Bitcoin is a Satoshi and anyone can afford to buy it. You can buy a buck worth of Bitcoin, $5, $10, whatever it is that you can afford to buy. That's what you should be buying because it's going to add up. If you're consistent with buying the Bitcoin, it is going to add up for you. Don't wait until it's too late, right? Don't wait until because people FOMO in. Look what happened when Bitcoin hit the $65,000 area. Everybody started buying in that day. And then, of course, it comes back down. But don't be that person. My average cost for Bitcoin is $19,000. That's because when the price was very low, I went in very hard. I was putting in bigger buy orders and getting them cleared. I was like, okay, this is going to be wonderful. It's going to be great. So now when I buy Bitcoin, I'm a little sad because it's pushing my average up. It's 19,000. Michael Saylor's average is not even that low. So I happen to be a very lucky girl, but I do have faith in that $5 million Bitcoin. Do you? Do you think we see a $5 million Bitcoin by the year 2030? People, I think it's possible. I really do. I think that we have every opportunity to get there now that more eyes are on it. And once people understand what Bitcoin is, it's awesome. I believe in it because remember, Satoshi Nakamoto, why did he make Bitcoin? He meant it to be peer to peer digital money. It was never meant to be an investment vehicle. It just meant that people could exchange value for value in privacy without the government having to know, just like freedom. That's why it was made. We just happen to get lucky and have the opportunity of the price point going significantly higher. So you decide in the comment section below, if you don't mind, was today's audio a little better than the last video? And if so, do you think we are going to see a $5 million Bitcoin? I thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you leaving the comments, letting me know about the audio from yesterday. And remember, only buy on red candles and please take care of yourself.